If you want to work with international clients, you need more than just some flashy screenshots of your past work. You need a business that works across cultures, a business that makes all of your ideal clients feel welcome, supported, and appreciated, regardless of their backgrounds and identities. In other words, you need a business that is inclusive. In this video, I'll share the 3 key areas of an inclusive web design business and how you can start making changes to your business today. Hey, I'm Danbee. I help web designers build profitable and inclusive businesses without overworking. As a freelance web designer and a mentor for web designers, I have worked with clients and teams across every continent except Antarctica. As a global inclusion specialist, I've helped freelancers and online business owners create high-ticket services, programs, and courses that truly support people from all around the world. If you're curious about learning from me, you can get started with a free training at danbeeshin.com/training. A smooth sales process is essential if you want to charge $5,000 to $10,000 or more for a website. This is true for local clients, and it's especially true for international clients who are in a different country. It is so frustrating as a client if the basics aren't taken care of, especially in that decision-making and payment process. Imagine this. You open up a designer's scheduling calendar to book a call, to book a discovery call or a sales call, and you can't figure out what time zone the scheduler uses. I have had to email people to ask what time zone their scheduler uses because it wasn't listed anywhere and I couldn't see their availability in my time zone. I hate wasting time on things like this, and I bet your clients do too. Or you open the scheduling calendar and see that the only times that are available are in the middle of the night where you are. Or you click on a payment link and are ready to make the payment, except the payment methods, the payment options on the page aren't available in your country. Or the only payment option is a credit card and you don't have one. Or you pay an invoice expecting to pay in one currency, but realize that you're charged in a different currency, which also means that the amount you were expecting to pay is not what was actually charged. Or, this has happened to me on multiple occasions, you open an invoice and find that an additional line item has been added to the amount that the designer originally quoted you to cover their transaction fees. I mean, if you were on the receiving end of these experiences, how would you feel? Probably like these processes weren't built for someone like you. All of this creates friction, and friction leads to confusion, delays, misunderstandings, and lost projects too. And not because you're not good enough at designing websites, but because your client experience wasn't designed for the people that you're trying to sell to. When working with you requires extra effort, your clients might just choose to go with someone else. And that someone else might not even deliver a better website. They might simply have a more thoughtful and inclusive process designed for international clients. Luckily, the solution is pretty simple, and there are tools and tweaks that can make a huge difference. You can use a scheduler with time zone support like Calendly or Acuity. These are the 2 that I have used the most, but there are also so many other options out there. Also, when you send someone your scheduling link, take a moment to find out where in the world they are and try to make sure that there are some appointment options during their work hours. And if you're not sure, you can always add something like, I'm in X time zone. If you don't see a time in my calendar that works for you, please let me know, and I'm sure we'll be able to work something out. You can also offer alternative payment options. Services like Wise and Wirebarley allow for bank transfers, and they often have better currency conversion rates and fees than traditional banks or PayPal. You should clearly state your currency using the standard 3-letter codes like USD for US dollars, SGD for Singaporean dollars, EUR for euros, and so on. Fun fact here, over 20 different currencies are called the dollar, and they're all different. My final suggestion here is to include payment processing fees and transaction fees in your prices. Do not break them out as a separate charge for your clients. It's like going to a restaurant where the taxes are not reflected in the menu prices. I know this is common practice in some countries, but when the final bill comes at the end of the meal, it doesn't feel good because my expectations have not been managed. Your clients just want to know what they need to pay up front. Payment processing fees, transaction fees, currency conversion fees, these should all be considered your cost of doing business and factored into your pricing. When your sales process is thoughtful and inclusive, your clients feel taken care of right from the beginning, and they just feel so much more confident about working with you, even if you are halfway around the world and you'll probably never meet in person. Okay, but sales is just one part of the client experience. Your process is important for building trust and confidence, but how you communicate and guide your clients through that process is just as important. So let's talk about that next. And just a quick note here to clear up any potential misunderstanding. Building an inclusive business does not mean bending over backwards and sacrificing your own needs just to make your clients feel comfortable. I will talk more about this later in the video. Many designers unintentionally use language that's full of jargon and rooted in geography-specific assumptions. So here's what I'm talking about. Here's some examples. It's better to use SVGs instead of PNGs for scalability and performance. The hero section here above the fold could use a stronger headline. We'll need to update your DNS settings to point this A record to your new host. Would you prefer a sticky nav or a fixed nav? All of these things may sound super straightforward to you, but your client probably doesn't understand what these words and phrases mean. You could also say something as casual as good morning at the start of a call, except that would feel awkward if it's evening for your client. Or saying, how was your Christmas when your client doesn't celebrate Christmas? I'll make sure that goes live tomorrow morning. That sounds simple, but whose morning? When is morning exactly? And in writing, something like, please send me your feedback by 6/7 could mean the 7th of June or the 6th of July. Who knows? Realistically, you can probably guess from the context, but you just really want to avoid this kind of confusion, especially when you're in the middle of a project and have so many things to manage at the same time. And none of these things are bad or offensive, but when you're working with international clients, you are coming into this working relationship with different sets of backgrounds, knowledge, and assumptions. And when those assumptions don't line up, it really does affect how comfortable or supported or understood your clients feel when they're working with you. And if your clients don't feel good, if they feel hesitant or unsure, that can lead to some really real consequences. Things like misunderstandings during the project, delays in approvals and feedback, clients holding back from asking questions or sharing important context because they just don't feel confident in that situation. And all of that adds up to missed opportunities to build long-term trust and relationships. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know that I'm a big believer in building long-term client relationships as a way to grow your business strategically, especially if you want recurring revenue and referrals. I know that some of these details can seem really small and even trivial, but they do matter. If you aren't paying attention, they can slowly damage your client relationships without you even realizing it. So how do we translate the sentences we saw earlier to simple, inclusive, easy to understand language? Let's tackle the jargon-filled examples first. It's better to use SVGs instead of PNGs for scalability and performance because I'll use a different kind of image file here so it loads faster and stays sharp on all screen sizes. The hero section here above the fold could use a stronger headline because the first section people see when they land on your homepage could use a more attention-grabbing headline, something that helps your ideal client see that they're in the right place. We'll need to update your DNS settings to point this A record to your new host because when we launch your new website, we'll need to update your domain settings so it shows your new website instead of the old one. I can take care of that for you. Would you prefer a sticky nav or a fixed nav? Because do you want the menu at the top of your website to stay visible as people scroll, or would you prefer it to disappear when they start scrolling down? And here are the rest of the examples we covered earlier. Instead of good morning, try hi, it's great to see you, or something you would say in real life. And instead of how's your Christmas, you could ask, did you take some time off at the end of the year? You could tweak, I'll make sure that goes live tomorrow morning, to I'll make sure that goes live by my tomorrow morning. That'll be by 11 p.m. today in your time zone. With dates, instead of please send me your feedback by 6/7, you could try writing out the month in words, like by the 6th of July. When you use language that is simple, clear, and easy to follow, especially across different cultures and time zones and countries and backgrounds, your clients will feel more welcome and supported and more willing to fully engage in the project. They will trust you more because they'll be able to feel that you have created this experience for them. If you're finding these tips helpful, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more content about building a profitable and inclusive web design business. Here's a trap that many of us fall into when we're trying to build an inclusive business. We focus so much on trying to make our clients feel welcome that we forget to build a business where we belong. And here's what that can look like. Hiding parts of your identity to seem more professional. Using language that doesn't feel like you, doesn't reflect how you actually speak. I see this a lot, especially with ChatGPT written emails. And yes, often we really can tell. Avoiding talking about where you're from, what languages you speak, or what makes your perspective unique, because you're afraid your clients will think less of you, that they'll pass negative judgment on you. It's easy to fall into this trap, especially if you've grown up with teachers, bosses, managers, and other people in positions of power, making you feel like you need to be someone you're not just to fit into their expectations, boxes that they have built for you. But a business where you're erasing parts of yourself isn't an inclusive business. You can't create a truly welcoming or supportive experience for other people when you don't feel like you belong in your own business. You might be able to push through for a while. You're probably really good at that. But if you're pretending to be someone else while running your business, it's gonna make everything feel so much harder. Creating your offers, marketing your services, growing your network, and connecting with your clients, it is not sustainable. So, a huge part of building an inclusive business is getting to know yourself better. That does take work, and weaving more of yourself into your business. Here's what that could look like. Sharing where you're based and how that affects your availability, as in your availability to work with clients, your education or technical background, and how that has shaped how you work with your clients. Letting people know how to pronounce your name the way you want them to say it. Sharing what languages you speak. Telling the story of how and why you started your web design business. I am not saying you need to turn all the elements of who you are into your brand. That feels really icky, but you do need to stop hiding the parts of you that make your business feel like yours. When your business feels like a place where you belong, everything else gets easier. You feel more confident showing up and marketing your services. You attract clients who want to work with you because of who you are, what you stand for, and your point of view. And when you feel like you can be the fullest version of yourself and be appreciated and valued for who you are right now, you're already halfway there toward helping your clients feel the same way when they interact with you and your business. Doing this kind of work can feel overwhelming because there's no single checklist and there's so many layers to consider. Where do you even start? My suggestion is your website. After all, you're a web designer, and also your website is often your first point of contact with your clients, especially international clients, and your website is something that you have full control over. If a potential client lands on your website and they feel like it was designed for a different group of people and they don't feel like they're part of that intended audience, that creates a disconnect. And that is often enough for them to click away. Not because your skills or your services aren't valuable, but because they felt out of place. So let's start with your website, and I have some guiding questions to help you review your current website with an inclusive lens. 1. Are you using words that are easy to understand for everyone? Are there any technical terms, industry jargon, or local references that could be confusing for someone in a different country who speaks a different language? 2. Are your time zone and currency clearly stated? If you're inviting clients to book a call with you, and if you're sharing pricing information, will someone in a different country know exactly what you mean? 3. Is it quick and easy to find key information? Are your menus, buttons, text links, search bars, and just information hierarchy in general designed in a way that makes it easy for someone who is unfamiliar with your website to find what they need? Here, I am thinking especially about websites that can be confusing to use, like ones with vertical menus on desktop or ones that use horizontal scrolling. Very cool and unique and flashy in some contexts, but not always easy for everyone to use. 4. Are you helping people get to know you as a person? Do you have photos of yourself and a clear about page with details that help someone feel more connected to you, especially if they're coming from a different country, culture, or background? Quick side note, if you're not sure what to include on your about page, I have a fill-in-the-blank copy template that is super easy to use, and it'll help you get your about page copy done in just 1 to 2 hours. It's called the Web Designer About Page Copy Template, and I will link to it in the video description. I have an important message here. You don't have to change everything all at once. Knee-jerk reactions that come from a place of pressure and urgency aren't inclusive. So take your time and reflect on your business. What is working? What feels aligned? What might need some updating? And what kind of an experience do you really want to create for the diverse international clients that you want to work with? That clarity is necessary for you to make decisions that are sustainable and that actually help you grow your business long term. So now you know how to build a more inclusive web design business and attract clients from all around the world. If you want to go deeper into working with more ideal clients and building recurring revenue without relying on complicated marketing funnels, this is the video I recommend watching next. It's showing up on your screen right now, and I'll see you over there.